Okay.
Like
That's what I was saying.
if you make an All NBA first team, like it all depends on which team you make. Like if you hit third team, second team, or first team, it all depends. Like if you ever hit a first team, I think
Yeah.
you get that 195. But if you get like second team, it's like 193. You feel me? Some shit like that.
It don't got nothing to do with the fact that he got traded. He not with his original team.
Yeah, I think it may be different, just a little bit
Nah,
more because he got traded.
But that's because he got traded. Thought it would stay the same. Like if he were to have just signed with them, you feel me? It would have had to been different. But like they trade his
They
contract.
traded
So
him. That was
yeah,
his.
New Orleans still has his bird rights. You feel me? Which is like the
Right.
rights of like your original team. So they still got him because they got him through trade.
That's what I was thinking though too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
like,
it's probably just how it was reported the whole time.
That shit weird. But hey, Kat, I gotta talk to you. I will talk to you probably a little after this because, bro, I was talking to this dude. His name Ali Lewis. His son Jalen Lewis. Y'all actually offered his son. He the number 2 prospect in 2023. So, I was chopping it up with him today. He told me that Pat Ewing was just like, yeah, I want him to rebound and block shots.
Get it in.
But for sure.
Yo, what's going on, sports family, man? And we back at it again with another episode of Micah and Friends. And today, it's the usual suspects in the building, man. I got my guy Nate from the West Coast checking in. Not from the East Coast, but he checking in today, man. What's going on, folks?
Man, living, bro. I'm out here with y'all, in the East Coast trying to get it in.
Man, easy then. We got Maryland's on, HU's on, Georgetown's on. Jay Cott checking in, man. What's going on with it, bro? You all good?
Yeah, man. Everything good on this side, man. How y'all doing?
Man, cool, man. You know it. Let's go ahead and get it started, man. Let's pay the bills real quick, man. This podcast is being sponsored and brought to you by TOV Sports. Make sure you go over there, follow them on YouTube, IG, Periscope, Facebook. Like, comment, subscribe. Go over there, tell Dave we said what up. And this podcast is being presented to you by National Sports Chat. Make sure you go over there on all platforms. Like, comment, subscribe, follow everything. And we'll keep coming at y'all with some good content. But today, man, let's go ahead and get it going because it's been a lot going on. And the one thing in particular that we could start it off with is Klay Thompson. He tore his Achilles. So I want to get y'all thoughts just on that. And what does this mean for the Warriors going forward? Are they totally out of the playoffs? Predictions going forward and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start it off with Cop, man. Let me get your thoughts on this.
Man, very unfortunate situation, man. I'm a huge Klay Thompson fan. He's a hard-working dude, especially coming off the ACL. It's tough. It's a very tough situation. All you can do is keep grinding out, chalk this year up, come back next year even stronger. But as far as the Golden State Warriors situation, I personally like the Kelly Oubre pickup. I think that was a huge way to bounce back. I mean, nothing will supplement for Klay Thompson. That's an all-time great shooter right there. But if you had to, replace him with something, Kelly Oubre gives you a different dynamic than Klay, but he can hoop. He can go. He gives you intensity on defense, exciting plays, and I think that he has a lot of room to grow. I think he can grow within that system of learning under Steph. So I think that the Warriors, I like the way they're constructed this year. I think they're still a playoff team, currently constructed. Pick up Wiseman in the draft. We got Draymond Green, Anthony Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins, 20-point per game scorer in the league. Like I said, the Kelly Oubre addition, and then Steph Curry, arguably the best point guard in the game. So I think that they still can make some noise. Nowhere near as what they would have done with Klay returning this year, but hey man, I think that it's not over for the dynasty either. He comes back next year, and what I think Steph Curry. How old is Klay? Y'all know.
He's 30.
He's 30.
Steph like 32, 33.
He'll be 31 when he come back.
Yeah, 31. Hopefully it's only a year. It doesn't linger on the next year because those Achilles, they're serious. But 31, 32, the way his game is, I mean, he just shoots it. He ain't gonna lose that. So same thing with Steph, I think he'll be around 34 when he comes back.
Yeah.
I think he'll still have a lot left in the tank.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's over, but it definitely puts a dent in what they could have achieved within that franchise. But very unfortunate situation. Praying for him.
Yeah, and just for me, I definitely don't think the Warriors. I think it's not just a season they could just throw away in the trash because, like you said, with the addition of Kelly Oubre, that's a good pickup, and I feel like that'll be a good situation where you could thrive at, man, especially in a winning environment, a winning culture. Even though they coming off a bad year, but granted, they were down two of their superstars, so. Being in a situation with a young Wiseman, I seen a little. I could call it a highlight tape of him just in the gym, and I didn't know his handles was like that. So he is good to see that he's getting work in. Oubre, I expect him to, especially with Clay down, to be around that 18 to probably 20 range. Then you got Hayward, whatever he can contribute. And we didn't really see too much of him last year, but I expect more out of him this year just because now he's 1 year in and he's really going to be able to play with a top tier point guard and Curry. So it'll be good to see how that'll benefit his game. And as well, you still got Draymond there. So the identity is still there. But, of course, it'll never be the same with Clay on the floor. Like, that's a guy that could go out there and drop 60 points in 3 quarters off 11 dribbles, or 37 in 1 quarter off 9 dribbles. So, it's definitely a piece that'll be missed. But one good thing about this that I could say is that the doctors did say that they expect a 100% recovery from him, and they're saying in 9 months. They're not even looking at a year. So I don't know if he like tore it lightly or something like that. Like I can't get into
partial tear or something.
What'd you say?
So maybe it was like a partial tear, not a full tear or something.
Yeah, I hope so, because the article I read, they was like certain on that 9 months. Like if they was pretty much saying that a year would be stretching it almost. So it'll be good to see how he comes back from that. And in 9 months he'll be 31. So 31 going on 32. So I definitely don't think he'll take too far of a step back from what his game would be. It's just I'm gonna miss him not playing this season because we already missed him last season. And I was expecting anything averaging from 27 to 30 this year, easily.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Nate, let me get your thoughts, man.
Man, like I said before, I even talk about his fit with the Warriors. Just want to send prayers out to dude. Coming off already a major injury in the finals, and then having to deal with a torn Achilles with season less than a month away. It's literally happened the night before draft night.
Yeah.
I don't think it really changed anything for them in terms of the draft. They still went Wiseman anyway. I thought it might have, shifted them to go toward LaMelo, but yeah, man, just praying for a full recovery. I'm a little bit more skeptical about the Warriors' future. I do think they'll make the playoffs this year. Y'all made some great points, bringing in Kelly Oubre, bringing in James Wiseman, bringing in they brought in Kent Bazemore and Brad Wanamaker. Those dudes, they're not starters, but they're very good bench dudes. Kent Bazemore was there before. He kind of turned himself into a 3-and-D guy there. And then Brad Wanamaker was just playing, I'd say, pretty big-time minutes on a contender with the Celtics. So, they got some experienced guys there. You still got Steph, who he's going to wake a lot of people up this year, man. I'll say that. A lot of people was talking crazy about Steph last year. He didn't really play, and when he did play, they looked pretty bad. But if you look at the rest of the talent on the floor, anybody would look pretty bad, with that type of team. But I think Steph's going to come back with a real resurgent year. You're talking about like 30 points per game for Clay. That's kind of what I see for Steph. And I think that's where he's going to have to be, in terms of leading that group. Because Kelly Oubre, I like what he gives the team, but he's not a sniper. I mean, no one's a sniper like Klay Thompson. So, I mean, you really can't use that as a baseline. But, he's a great athlete. I think he might be a better athlete than Clay, not a better defender. He's going to have to grow the defender, same way Andrew Wiggins. But you playing with Draymond Green, you playing with James Wiseman at this point, those two dudes, I think they'll grow from, like you said, Micah, a winning culture. Being there, finally having a chance to get to the playoffs, make some noise. But I see probably first, maybe second round exit from this team this year. I'm a little bit more skeptical of the dynasty continuing. Two dudes for me that will show if I think Clay can come back from this type of, double injury. I'm looking at John Wall and I'm looking at Boogie this year, just to kind of gauge, how they even look in terms of burst off their old selves. You feel me? How do they even look coming off 2 major injuries in a row? Because it's different. You know, you get one major injury, you come back, and then you get injured again. You know, you kind of see where you can be. But, you know, we haven't seen these dudes. By this time, it'll be 2 years, you know, with John Wall and with Boogie. So, you know, those dudes will be a big, like, barometer for me for Clay. But I think the dynasty's over, man. Like, even if he comes back as a supreme shooter, which I think still a big part of Clay was his defense, you know, being able to go out there and guard the best perimeter player on the court while being able to run around screens all game, you know, and have people guard him. You know, if he comes back and he's a spot-up shooter, he's still the best spot-up shooter in the NBA. So don't get me wrong, but I thought Clay was, you know, a lot more versatile than just being a scorer. But, you know, I'm hoping for a speedy recovery, but, you know, I probably have to say the Golden State run is over with. And depending on how these next 2 seasons go, we might see somebody like a Draymond move.
Yeah, I mean, even if the run is over with, I mean, the dynasty was still the dynasty. You know, 3 or 4 years, you know, it's hard to really top that. So, you know, even if it is over, it's cool. Like, they came through and did what people haven't done. So, definitely salute to them on that.
They're definitely a dynasty. I mean, you get 3 and 4 years, you go to 5 out of 6 years. I mean, you have the best record of all time, 73-9. I mean, that to me spells dynasty. So, you know, you win 3, that to me is like a dynasty in itself, or go to at least 5. Like, you know, you're dominating your respective conference for a long time. So, you know, you got to give them a respect as a dynasty for sure.
I will say that this Clay's injury can be not a positive. Of course, it's never a positive. You would want Clay there, but it allows James Wiseman to maybe develop a little bit more and get more touches than he would have if Clay would have been there. And we can actually see what, like, if he has an outside game, can he, like I said, get more touches and really develop into. I mean, a lot of guys are throwing that Anthony Davis comparison around. I've heard Chris Bosh comparisons. And I mean, if you think about it, and Nate, you made that comparison to Boogie Cousins and John Wall as a parameter as how he can come back based off their injuries. And I feel what you're saying, but I think that because of Clay's play style, and yes, you made great points with how he's a great defender, and not just a shooter. It takes a lot to run off those screens, but his game is still a little different. He brings a different dynamic than Boogie.
It's not as many cuts as a John Wall, to your point. Yeah, like a D-Rose, you know, they make a lot of cuts.
Right. And then if you I think it's not quite over just because we don't know. The dynasty's not quite over just because of we don't know how high Wiseman's ceiling is. True. And also you bring Klay Thompson back. Kelly Oubre is a good defender. I think that he can take on fulfill that role. If Clay isn't the defender he once was, he can take on that role as checking the best wing guy. And Clay can still. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it takes a lot, but if he's in game shape and the doctors clarify him ready to play, then he'll be able to run off those screens still. He'll be able to. Now his lateral quickness may be a little that'll be a sight to see. We had to watch that, but
I'd like. Oh, my bad, bro.
No, I was just saying that. So I'm not all the way chalking the dynasty. If he can come back, Steph's still healthy. Like I said, James Wiseman is the mystery box. We don't know what he can be. Still got Draymond Green. I'm not counting him out.
Then one thing to look at too is they have a lot of trading power as well. You know, whatever Wiggins turns out to be, even let's just say he remains what he was his last year at Minnesota, which he was like 20 and probably 6 or something. Yeah, like 26 and 6 or something like that. That's a good tradable piece. You know what I'm saying? You could go out to the market and really get something for that. And I mean, and then when you start looking at the opportunities, when you like lump Draymond and stuff in there, you may come away with some good pieces. So
well, I don't think that their dynasty is over solely because of injuries. I also look at the landscape of the Western Conference too, because like their best runs, you know, you have the Houston Rockets. You know, they kind of went from they had Clint at a point, they had Dwight at a point, and then they kind of converted to small ball. But besides the Rockets, there really was no consistent contender to the Warriors in the conference. Actually, scrap that. OKC was a consistent contender before KD went there, but he was there for 3 out of 5 years of their dynasty. So, you know, I look at the landscape now in the Western Conference. You have the LeBron-led Lakers with Anthony Davis. We'll talk about their free agency additions a little later. And then, you look over at the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, however scrubbish he may be, and then you look at Dallas. You look at a team like Portland, who's gotten a lot better. You look at somebody like the Suns. Like, I kind of see
Denver.
In Denver. Like, I see the Western Conference taking shape a little bit more. Like, I don't really see a clear top dog besides the Lakers right now. So, to your guys' point, the Warriors dynasty might not be over. It's just, to me, it seems like it's a little bit on the way down. Having lost KD last year and then having lost Klay Thompson for another 2 years, I really want to see them good again because that's the most exciting team in basketball to me when they're hot. But just gotta take time to see. But I really want to see Steph do his thing this year.
Yeah,
Sure.
man. Let's go ahead and move on to this next one, man. We got Montrezl Harrell going to the Lakers, man, and I need to know, what does this mean for the Lakers? What does this mean for the Clippers? I'm gonna start it off, man, and I just think this was I wouldn't say it's a bad move on the Clippers' part, just because what they had coming in. It was a bad move initially for me, just because off rip, I'm like, damn, he's one of those energy guys. I know you speak about that a lot, Cot, in the chat. Like, he's one of those energy guys, and energy is contagious, like you do say. And but from what I seen, what they brung in with Ibaka, I was like, all right, I would rather take more of the size and get what Ibaka contributes than having Hero, stay around. So I would definitely, I would say it's a hard move. It was definitely tough because he's been loyal to that organization. He's fought hard for that organization, and they offered. The Lakers offered him the same contract that Ibaka got, 2 years for $19 million. So I think it was just more of a preference thing for the Clippers and size thing, because going against the Lakers, you're gonna have to need some size now. They, with the addition of Marcus Gasol, of course, AD there, you're gonna need somebody that's rough, tough, and somebody that can step out and really nail a shot. Hero, he could do a little bit in inside of the three, but on the outside, it's not really too. It's nothing that you really got to go out there and check. With Ibaka, he has a shot when he hits his own. So
Sure.
you got to really respect that in Ibaka. So I definitely don't think it was just a bad move. I feel like if they could have kept Hero, they should have. If they could have had 19 million laying around to keep Hero, I would have done that and probably signed Marcus Morris to 1 year less, so I could just use that money for Montrezl. But I'm not mad at it. I definitely think it's a good addition by the Lakers. Of course, they add another piece, especially a piece that was in the building already. He's out in LA. It's no moving that needs to be done. Just changing the organization. So definitely a good look for them, and it's a good addition offensively and defensively. Like I said a little second ago, Montrezl is a 19-point-a-game player, so it's hard to really find those players out there at a price like 2 years for $19 million. That's about $9.5 million a year. So it's hard to find those guys out there, especially when you have guys out here getting paid $120 million for.
Man, don't even start this yet. Don't even start on that, man.
We gonna get into that, man. But Nate, let me get your thoughts on this, man. Do you think this was a bad move by the Clippers? Do you think this was a bad move by the Lakers picking them up or not?
Man, I think this is an amazing move by the Los Angeles Lakers, considering that they don't really have many assets and many ways to get young talent. People forget Montrezl Harrell is only 26 years old. And, I'm of the variety. I look at the Lakers as, you got to start building around Anthony Davis, right? He's only 27. Then you go out and pick up Dennis Schroeder, who is 27. So you replaced an old Dwight Howard, like a 33, 34-year-old Dwight Howard, even though he's obviously bigger than Montrezl, with a 26-year-old. And then you go replace a 33-year-old Rondo with Dennis Schroeder. So both those moves I really like, but I think Montrezl fits a lot better with the Lakers because he doesn't have to be relied on for as much like defense, right? The Clippers, I don't think they had any real great defensive big. Like, Zubac is solid, Montrezl is a solid defender. They didn't really have what you would consider like a prototypical power forward. So yeah, I think Montrezl got exposed a lot, especially in that Denver series. I mean, he's just physically too small to be battling with Jokic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's just physically too small. That's not necessarily his fault. But you plug him in with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis can guard the biggest player. While Montrez, he's a great, he takes charges. He's quick enough to stay in front of probably most fours. He's not big enough for most fives, but you can disguise that with Anthony Davis now and LeBron James. Or you feel me, you could run him out there on a lineup with Montrezl Harrell and Marc Gasol. So at any point in the game, Montrez really does not have to guard a center because they can go small ball and they're not really small. 6'8" LeBron, 6'6" Montrez, and then you got 6'10", 6'11" Anthony Davis. So, you got a lot of varieties for matchups there. And I think, man, this is a terrible loss for the Clippers. Not because they brought back in Serge Ibaka. Like, I really do like the addition of Serge Ibaka, but my concern with it is that you let him go to your crosstown rival. You feel me? Like, you didn't offer – you allowed him to not just leave, but you allowed him to go to your crosstown rival. You feel me? Like, obviously, the rivalry itself speaks for itself, but it's just like,
man, got no say so on that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they don't, but at the same time, you gotta bring him back. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been an energy guy, but supposedly it's a lot of drama. A lot of drama with the Clippers. I guess him and Paul George aren't really getting along. I think Serge Ibaka is a great pickup for the Clippers. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, that stretch to three. I think last year he shot like 38.5% from the three. That's the Clippers needed. He's a great screen setter and a much more physical defender than Montrez. But I mean, when you look at their bench now, like, they really don't have any energy coming off the bench. I thought that the Clippers, if anything, I mean, Lou Will, yes, he provides energy, he provides scoring, but like that brute strength, you feel me? Like that brute energy, Lou Will doesn't do that. He's a bucket getter, Like, he doesn't come in and really make other plays besides getting buckets, which is cool. But, Montrez, he'll stand in, he'll take a charge, get the crowd riled up. But I like Serge Ibaka for the Clippers, but I really think the Clippers should have addressed another need, which I'll talk about whenever we get to that point of the conversation. But I think it's a much better move for the Lakers. I don't think it's a terrible move by the Clippers, but I do think they should have tried harder to retain him.
Yeah, and you share the same thoughts with me, like, just on trying to keep him. And one more thing I want to add, Cop, before you get in there, it's just one of those things too. Like, you always need one of those players like and I'm in no way am I trying to say that Jared Dudley is on Montrezl Harrell's level. But you need a guy that'll go out there and just get a tech just to tee the team up. You know what I'm saying? Just to get them riled up. Like how sometimes coaches go out there, just yell at refs when you down, probably getting your ass kicked, just to get a team like, hey, man, like, we still out here, so.
The Clippers they have Patrick Beverley, but besides Patrick Beverley, they don't have really any vocal players on their team.
Ibaka vocal.
He's vocal.
We haven't seen that yet.
And Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, he provides energy, but like, I wouldn't consider him like the vocal guy that Montrez is. Like you're saying, like a high energy guy.
Yeah.
But the Clippers, they have Patrick Beverley, but he's too much talk as opposed to play. I think Montrez is a great combination of the two. And him coming off the bench with Dennis Schroeder for the Lakers, that pick and roll is arguably just as dangerous as him and Lou Will. So, yet to be seen, but I think so.
Kyle, let me get your thoughts, man.
Man, y'all made some great points. I think it's a huge loss for the Los Angeles Clippers. I feel like he was a culture setter for that organization. Him, Lou Will, Pat Bev, they all brought this goodness, get it out the mud type of, mindset. Just culture to the team, to the organization, gave them a certain level of edge, a certain level of grittiness. So it was really surprising to me to see them let him go. I had chalk it up to believe that it had to be something within chemistry issues. Guys weren't getting along. Now we did hear those reports at the end of last season with guys complaining about PG in the locker room and Kawhi Leonard as well. I think that definitely factors into it. I don't know. Of course, I don't know any of these guys personally, but just from the outside looking in, Montrez seems like a cutthroat type of dude. It seems like he's gonna let you know how he's feeling, and I feel like he definitely had something to do with that. So that's because, I mean, like you said, coming off a 6th man of the year, 19 points a game. Him and Lou Will, their pick and roll was deadly coming off the bench. It doesn't make too much sense to me. I think that Them bouncing back with Serge Ibaka was a great pickup. I will say you can't. I don't see how they could have bounced back any better than that. So that was good on their behalf because obviously Serge and Kawhi had previous playing experience winning the championship together in Toronto. But it's a great pickup for the Los Angeles Lakers. He brings everything. Nate, you mentioned some great points. He was kind of exposed a little bit last year um, in that Clippers system because they didn't have any other real bigs or physical bigs who could check other big men in the Western Conference. And Trez kind of ran into a couple problems in the playoffs going with Jokic, Anthony Davis throughout the year, and so I think that, but with the Lakers roster, he wouldn't be put in that predicament as much. Um, so they can really hide him, and he might actually thrive better within that organization than with the Clippers because of their roster makeup. Nate, you made a great point saying that. I mean, you can't lose him to your crosstown rival, man. That's awful.
You can't do it, bro. Not after it's been revived and everything. You can't let that happen.
That's tough, man. That is the worst place that he could have signed for the Los Angeles Clippers. He's already a fiery guy naturally, so he's going to definitely have some, built up animosity when they play.
Why dropping 40 on him?
Man, I don't know.
Why dropping?
I don't know about that.
I low key, I think the Clippers right now they done moved down the totem pole for me. I can't lie. I like last year it was the argument, they was competing for the best team in the West. This year I like a couple teams over them. I can't lie with the current roster makeup. Of course, Paul George, we don't know where he's at. Kawhi, I think, is the only real consistent piece that you know what you're going to get. But even he had shocking moments last year. And if you look throughout this playoff career history, there's some arguments you can make about when he's actually the alpha dog and how he performs. So I don't know, man. I feel like it's a tough loss for the Clippers and a great game for the Lakers.
Yeah, we'll see how this end up unfolding, man. But I definitely think I share the same thoughts as y'all. It's a tough loss for sure, and and I feel like they couldn't control it because if they would have tried to keep him. But you definitely don't want to lose it to the team that you're sharing the building with. Like, that don't even, what I'm saying? Like, that don't even make sense. But let's go ahead and move on to this next one, man.
Another one.
It's a lot of moves that was being made. A lot of them. I got some that I definitely want to talk about. And I'll get to it. But I need to know what teams made the best moves this offseason. And that's with the draft. That's with free agency. So I'm gonna start it off, man. Cod, I'm gonna start it off with you, even though you just finished, man. I'm gonna start it off.
I was about to say, he hopping.
You want to hop in, Nate?
Nah, you got it.
Man. It's a couple teams. I can't give you. I think the Los Angeles Lakers, who we just talked about, they're definitely up there picking up Dennis Schroeder. Nate, you made some great points about how they replace guys with younger core around Anthony Davis, who they're obviously building around for the future. I think the New York Knicks have done a great job getting rid of some old baggage guys that worth a crown quarter, picking up Obi Toppin, hometown guy, picking up Emmanuel quickly. I think they had a great draft. Not even bringing on Miles Powell. I think he's going to be a sleeper. He's instant offense. I think that Portland made a couple strong moves, re-signing Melo, bringing in Robert Covington. Robert Covington gained a lot of respect for me last year going to that Houston system. Real true 3-and-D guy.
For sure.
I think that there's one more team. Who else? I like what Charlotte did within the draft. Of course, obvious pickup with Melo. But I like the Vernon Carey and the Nick Richards pickup as well. That gives them two athletes in their front court, young guys. And also, if it's one guy, if it's one other team, I like what the New Orleans Pelicans have done, locking in Brandon Ingram for that 5-year deal. I think he's a special player. And they're also bringing in Steven Adams. I think that's huge. Him
Speed.
alongside, hey, that's huge. That's a nice front court. Him and Zion
Eric
Williams.
Bledsoe's not a bad backup point guard either,
Neither
just to
is
bring in
Eric
for some
Bledsoe.
defense.
Right. They also added the veteran George Hill. He might not see that many minutes, but he's a great
Who gonna
locker
be
room
pushing
guy.
the one for them?
Lonzo. He still got Lonzo.
He better be careful.
He better be careful. That's true.
He better be, because they drafted that Kira Lewis Jr. kid too, who's
Right.
a blur in the open court. So
Right,
it's gonna be a nice scrap for that.
We just gotta
point
be
guard.
honest, man. We gotta be honest. It's over with Alonzo, bro. You know,
Yeah,
it's,
he ain't. I'm
I'm
not gonna say it's over. He ain't that guy,
Lonzo is
though.
an elite playmaker. I will give him that. He definitely is an elite playmaker. He can make certain passes. He's athletic, 6'7", 6'6", 6'7". Like I said, athletic. And I feel like he fits the mold for what they're trying to do down there. He can push the pace. He throws the full court pass better, just as good as anybody in the league. And with a guy like Zion, he can get him the ball in just about any place. So and Brandon Ingram as well. So I feel like he's almost a perfect type of fit for that team. They got a lot of guys who can score on the wing, so you don't really need a ball dominant point guard who's going to hold on to it and try to get a bucket.
Let me get a few of those. I got a few.
Probably my top 5.
You got it,
Nate.
So definitely got to start off with the Lakers, man. I think they're winning free agency just because they really had no assets, but they really turned their roster around completely. The only person that they traded was Danny Green, and they really got to upgrade to me at every position. I think Marc Gasol is a pretty big upgrade from JaVale McGee. I mean, he can shoot a three, former defensive player of the year, may not be as athletic. You go and get Montrezl Harrell. He may not be better than Dwight since he's not as big, but he's a much better scorer at this point in his career, quicker. You go get Dennis Schroeder, who I think is an above average replacement for Rondo. May not be the floor general, but he's above average replacement. You re-sign KCP, and then you re-sign Markieff and obviously Anthony Davis. It hasn't come out yet, but just assuming. But behind those two, I got the Phoenix Suns having the number 2 best offseason right now. I think that they showed Devin Booker that they're like, all right, it's time we're going to finally put a roster around you that should be able to compete. You got CP3. You bring in Jay Crowder, very, very capable 3-and-D guy who was just in the finals. You re-sign Javon Carter and Dario Saric. And then, Kotzman through the draft. Jalen Smith, a 6'10" dude. He averaged 2.2 blocks last year in Maryland, and he shot like 38% from the three. So, you got some floor spacers there. You finally got some good defenders. Losing Oubre hurts, but I think that they got some really good replacements. Number 3, I'm going to have to go with the Atlanta Hawks. They moved up a ton in my list. They're actually in the playoff picture right now. You go out and draft Onyeka, and then you pick up a proven scorer in Danilo Gallinari. You pick up a proven veteran in Rajon Rondo, just coming off of finals where he was, third best player arguably on the championship team. You go get Chris Dunn, who's an elite defender. He may not be a great offensive player, but, they need to surround Trae Young with defenders. So, I like that move. And then they got an offer sheet for Bogdan Bogdanovic. So, I think that they're really making some strong moves over there. Trae Young, he may never be a great defender, but they surrounded him by some people that, can teach him how to be pretty good. Number 4.
Gallinari.
I got them. Yeah, I said Gallinari too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and number 4, I got the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they did a very good thing by bringing Malik Beasley back, even though, he got a gun case or whatever. But, we talked about that was going to be swept under the rug. He over here making 40 plus. Yeah, take this money and forget
He's a
about it.
law-abiding citizen. Man. He ain't doing nothing wrong.
Exactly.
So they picked wrong.
They re-signed him. They obviously went and got Anthony Edwards, who I think will be, the guy out of this draft. And then they went and traded for Jaden McDaniels, who was the number 28 pick. But, people were saying he had top 10 talent before the draft. Dude from UW, 6'10", shooter. If he ever pieces those things together, that's a steal to me at 28. Bringing back Ricky Rubio isn't a bad move either. They just needed a solid floor general there because D'Angelo Russell, he's a solid playmaker, but Rubio is like legit only a playmaker. That's his role. I think that's what he excels at. He's a scrappy defender too. Him, maybe, but not. I think I'd probably bring Beasley off the bench, but him, Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, Cat, and maybe find somebody else for that 4. They may not be done yet, but I think that that's a pretty solid roster.
Hey,
And
Nate,
then,
I'm in
yep,
on that Timberwolves. I would like to see them pick up a center. In all
just a
honesty,
backup.
I feel like Cat could thrive at the 4 position. He got the size, but he doesn't really like banging down there. So
Yeah, he's like AD, honestly. AD
right,
plays better with a center next to him.
right. So I feel like they go get a guy who's big, physical, just going to bang down there that 5 position, rebound, block shots, set screens, and they'll be set.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then I'd have to go with my number 5 is Portland. I probably put it really would have put him higher, but I mean, Coach said it already. Go out and get Robert Covington. I think that's amazing because that's what they've always needed. They were one of the worst defenses in the league last year. So you bring in a 6'8" true 3-and-D dude. He's legit a 3-and-D, like the prototypical. I mean, he can really shoot it. He's long. He's active. Yeah, 6'8". So I really like that pickup. For me, that put the Portland Trailblazers at like number 10 in my overall rankings. You re-sign Rodney Hood. I think that's a solid move. I wasn't too excited by it, but he's a solid playmaker, shooter. Bring back Melo. And then you go get Derrick Jones Jr. from the Heat, who just adds that lob threat, another versatile dude at that 4 position. He's a pretty good defender. He played behind a lot of guys with the Heat, but he's young. He can give them a different element. And then you go back and get Enes Kanter, get some scoring off the bench, get another big man off the bench. He was there before, so it's a familiar situation. And they picked up Harry Giles too, who he was the number 1 prospect in his class at a point. I don't think he'll ever be that type of guy, but if he can give you some Willie Cauley-Stein minutes off the bench, I think that's a pretty solid role for him.
Yeah. Hey, to chime in, one last point, an honorable mention team I'd like to mention is the Miami Heat. I think that Derrick Jones Jr., I would have liked to see him still down there within that organization. I thought he did well with that group. But they picking up Avery Bradley is huge for them. I feel like he fits their mold. And also drafting Precious out of Memphis. I feel like that's a great pickup as well. I feel like he can, long, athletic, hard-nosed type of guy. I feel like he can thrive in that culture and that system down there.
They kept Goran Dragic too, which was a big piece. But the only question mark I have for the Heat was going to get Myers Leonard. 2 years, $20 million. I thought that was kind of iffy. And then using a roster spot on Udonis Haslem, it's like, come on now. I understand paying the man, but stop. I wouldn't use a roster spot on somebody that you're literally using as a coaching role. Like, you might as well just convert them to a coach. Shed a spot for your team. They're great with developing talent or whatever. So why not bring in a project that you can develop into an actual player? So I didn't really understand that. But then they went and got Mo Harkless, who, I think he's a very good defender. At a point, he shot 41% from 3. Last year, he shot like 27. So, that's not good. But if he can go back to like where he was shooting before when he was with the Clippers and stuff, then, that's a very plus pickup too. So they can definitely be honorable mention.
Man, I'm going to just start it off with my team, the New York Knicks. And I think we personally had the best offseason. I'm not saying we setting up to win right now, but just salute to Leon Rose and the gang over there, because this is not the typical offseason we had. We made some good strategic moves in the front office. First by drafting Obi Toppin, hometown kid, getting Miles Powell. He's right across the street from New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey to be exact. Then we offloaded some terrible contracts with Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson, Wayne Ellington. Then we were able to retain Alfred Payton, but because we had him, but we re-signed him to a lesser amount. So we over here restructuring. We doing I'm not saying it's the greatest pick. I'm just saying we restructured it. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of giving them $10 million, we giving them $5 million, and we was able to bring in Nerlens Noel for another $5 million. He's cool. It's nothing to really talk about with him. Then being able to draft Emmanuel quickly, like Kai said early. He's a 16-4-2 player, 42% from the 3. So it's hard to really, argue with what he can bring to the team. I feel like the thing that we were probably looking for the most was, I think, scoring, because that's what I felt like. Wayne Ellington signs a 1-year deal with the Detroit Pistons. See, I just spoke of you. See, you got money just because I spoke of you. That's a Woj bomb right there. But even let me keep going with this. We kept Randall, we retained Randall, got 3 player, and picked up Austin Rivers. I can't myself over that. We picked up Austin Rivers for 3 years, $10 million. So we definitely which I thought we would have done, but we didn't do that. He's another shooter. And I just think we're setting up good for the future, man. We still have $40 million in cap space that we could use. So I definitely think we did good by not fucking off our cap space like we usually do and bringing in 5 power forwards. You know what I'm saying? So definitely salute to Leon Rose over there. But at the end of the day, we still got James Dolan as the owner of the team. So we never know how that could go. You know, so all that could just be you know what I'm saying? But let me go to a team to where I had some other good take. The Lakers, of course, here KCP, Morris coming back, Struder, Mark Gasol, the addition of him, he's a great player. And I like that Rondo left, even though, you know, Rondo was a good piece and contributed to them heavily in the finals, of course, with him being the third leading scorer for their team. But it allows Brown to really push the point guard fully and not allow him to, even prolong his career even longer, you know, from what it is right now. So definitely that was some good moves. And even though Nate, you didn't like the Landry Shamet move, I loved it because Luke Kennard, he's a 16, 4-4 player, 40% from the three. Landry Shamet really didn't get it done this past season. 9-2-2, 37%.
He was also on a contender though. Luke Kennard was playing for one of the worst teams in the league, so we got to see how it balances out, you know, because he's not going to get the same touches playing with Kawhi and PG.
I feel you. You know, defense is definitely a little bit better with Luke Kennard than Shamet for me. So I like that move for sure. Then they picked up a guard, Jay Shrub, and he was a JUCO player. He's a drop 29,
nice.
6'6" guard. He could guard with the 1 through 3, and he's great. He's great on the perimeter. So I think that's a good look for the Clippers if they're able to really develop him. And, you know, probably give him I don't know if it's a 2-way contract or what, but just have him being able to develop in the G League and also getting some real minutes. Do him some justice. Let me see who else on here that we didn't already go through.
I got an honorable mention.
Okay.
The Philadelphia 76ers. And actually, they really shouldn't be an honorable mention because I think they had a hell of an offseason. They got rid of Al Horford's terrible contract. They got rid of Josh Richardson, who was also overpaid. And they brought in, albeit, you know, an inconsistent shooter, they did bring in a shooter with Danny Green, who's proven that he can do it, you know, at highest stage. He didn't do it this year, but, you know, he's proven that he's a good 3-and-D. Seth Curry can fill it up. Terrence Ferguson, you know, somebody that can at least stretch the floor. And then you go out and get Dwight Howard. And then they draft Tyrese Maxey. So it's clear that the Sixers have a clear direction in where they want to go. To me, it shows that they're going to run it with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I don't see the Harden trade happening now. And I really like the roster that they put around those guys. They addressed a lot of needs this offseason.
Yeah. And
I feel like Steph Curry is a great is the best pickup in all honesty. Of course, I'm loading the Al Horford contract, but he definitely proved with the Dallas Mavericks that he's an underrated creator as well. He's not just a shooter. I feel like he really got that Curry blood in him. So, like you said, Nate, great. They also had a great offseason. Wanted to make that good point.
Lastly, the team I want to mention is Brooklyn. You know, them going out, getting Jeff Green, another good defender. You know, even though he's older, he can definitely still get out there and guard. Re-signing Joe Harris and picking up Landry Shamet for what it's worth. Like I said, even though he didn't have the best of seasons last year, he's still a good shooter from the perimeter. You know, he's still a good point guard. So it'll be good to see what he could do over there. Then they had that Harden trade on the table to where, okay, say if they do get him, they'll have to let go of LeVert and Dinwiddie, which I'm good with. But if they don't get them, shit, they got 2 more pieces that are very trade worthy. You know, LeVert could definitely probably bring in a good amount of trade value with him with we already seeing him dropping 50-point games and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I definitely don't think they had a bad offseason at all. It is. I just think they're waiting for that box office move to break through to see what they do. But other than that, let me see if I have anything else on here that's worthy of saying.
We're going worse now. My bad.
Yeah, we could go to let's go to worst, man. Let's get into this next topic. Let's go to who made the worst moves this offseason. I'm gonna start it off, and it ain't even nothing to talk about. But the Rockets, only thing they did do good was getting Woods in Detroit. They fucking picked up Plumlee, Okafor, and they lost Woods. And nigga, I guess Sadiq Bey, I know he I'm not saying he's a scrub, but he's a young guy. We got to see what he's gonna be. Blake, we still don't know. I just don't know what the fuck Detroit's doing. Honestly, I don't know if they trying to rebuild clearly, but I don't know. That ain't the way to do it, bro. The Rockets just need the Lord's help. But what's y'all worst moves made this offseason?
Let me go real quick.
For sure.
The Charlotte Hornets.
They were on my list.
They made the worst contract offer sheet I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's way too high, bro.
To $120 million 4-year deal is the worst contract in NBA history. Yeah. You heard it here first. I mean, all respect to Gordon Hayward, but he is not the player that he of old. He is not the Gordon Hayward of old, and most people aren't. After you have to get your ankle reconstructed after that major traumatic injury that we saw. He's about 30 years old. So he's on the latter half of his prime anyway. He didn't prove anything in Boston to me as to why he would be worth $120 million. So that was just completely out of the blue. I personally think at this stage in his career, he's worth half of that. I would have had 60 M for him for 4 years if it was up to me, if I was the GM. So that was just completely the wildest thing I've seen this offseason, and I don't think anything can top that. So that the Charlotte Hornets, they have, I mean, and I actually gave them props, you know what I'm saying, picking up Melo, but I totally forgot about that. This topic just brought that back to my mind.
That's definitely the worst signing of the free agency career for sure.
Real quick, your boy changed his tone though.
Who?
John Wall.
He had
to.
That nigga changed his tone quickly.
What do you say? What are you talking about?
The nigga wanted to trade, did it? Yeah. It's like shit. Ain't nobody gonna pick me up. Ain't nobody gonna trade for me. So shit. I love it here.
Yeah, like, bro, shut up and stack your dough, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, let me chime in on this, bro. All right, I know you just said the Brooklyn Nets having a great offseason. I'm going to go ahead and say they had one of the worst. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you look back in January, when Kyrie literally said, we need different pieces, even if they are waiting for the James Harden big fish, I guess, I think that's good enough to wait on, but you can't rely on that. And Kyrie literally said himself, if they're going to contend, they need better pieces. And this roster to me looks the exact same. Like you said, I think Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert are very tradable pieces, but everybody you'd probably want to trade for right now has been moved. They kind of waited a little late, in my opinion. Like, I mean, you could have gone out and gotten a Drew Holiday. I think that would have been a move that, impressed. You could have made an offer maybe for Bradley. I don't think that they got better at all. I don't see any move that made them better. Landry Shamet, huh?
I mean, but you also had the best player in the world.
No, I'm not saying, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think their roster is bad, but I'm just saying based off what they've said and in terms of off-season moves, I don't think that they were in a spot that they could have just stand pat. And like from what I see from them right now, they're playing it very conservative. And after Kyrie made those statements, I thought it was pretty obvious you got to try to get Spencer and Karis LeVert out of there. And I just really haven't seen that from them. I I'm not saying that they don't have the talent, but
Like,
I will say that that's a failure of an offseason because your best player, second best player, literally asked the front office to change things around. They changed nothing.
but
Nothing.
I thought
Everybody that
like
was
that
on
was
that team.
barring. I think that was barring. You know what I'm saying? Just with KD being out. You know what I'm saying? I
Nah, he
think that
said
was.
we need new pieces that will complement me and KD better when he comes back. You know, so it's like that's all. I'm basing it off that statement. I'm not basing it off the talent that they already have. I like the talent that they already have, but the fact that he said that was just like, all right, maybe they need to make some moves. And if they're waiting for the big fish and James Harden, cool. But otherwise, I don't see anything in their roster that's gotten better so far. They got time to do so, but they haven't really made any improvements. Number two, I'm
Hold
gonna
on,
go
hold
ahead.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, real quick. You don't like Reggie Perry?
Who?
Reggie Perry. Nigga said who?
Who is that?
They picked him up in the
Nah, no
draft,
cap.
man. He averaged 17 and 10 and 5. He
Where?
6'10" center from
Where?
Mississippi State. He was like I think the 59th pick. He's a good pickup.
Man, he probably won't even see the floor for them, bro. He's probably a G leaguer. If he went 59, he probably going G League. But all right, so number two, I'm gonna say
I think Jeff Green was a pretty good pickup for him, though.
For sure.
I think it was solid. I just think they needed a little bit more of a not star talent. I don't think they need James Harden, but if they were gonna make some moves, I kind of would have liked to see him do it already. I think the Denver Nuggets also had a really bad free agency. They made moves to me that spelled a team that's trying to build instead of a team that's ready to compete. You re-sign Paul Millsap, but you lose Jeremy Grant and you lose Torrey Craig, and then you don't go out and make any trades for the guys that were available. We talked about on the podcast before. They should have been in the Drew Holiday hunt. You know, they could have possibly been in the Rondo hunt. They could have possibly been. They didn't really. They got younger to me, which is cool. Like they brought in, they got 2 picks. RJ Hampton, I really like. They got Marcus Howard. But I mean, you trying to win right now around Jokic and Jamal Murray. Y'all just in
You got Marcus Howard from Marquette?
Yeah, like it's a good pickup, but y'all were just in the conference finals. Like when I look at teams like that, you don't need to build with more youth. You need to go get veterans that are proven and know how to play at the highest stage. So I thought that was
Paul Millsap to 1 year, $10 million.
Yeah, it's solid. You know, like I have a higher standard for the contenders because like, all right, if you're not getting better, what are you doing in free agency? And you see the Lakers, they treated it like they just lost. You feel me? They made moves like a team that wasn't even in the finals. Like they're like, okay, we saw what we did this year, let's get better. I didn't really see that from Brooklyn or Denver. I will say that I think also OKC. I just don't understand the vision. Like you just keep picking up picks after picks after picks. Like you might have 16 to 17 first round picks in 5 years. You can't even keep all those guys on the roster. So it's like I understand, you know, compiling trade assets, but to me they should have kept somebody like Kelly Oubre. Him and Shea Gilgeous, that's at least an exciting duo. Like, is he really, you know? Do you really want a first round?
Shit,
do you want a first round pick that badly that you're willing to give up somebody that's good right now? You know, I don't think that's smart moves or smart decision making because Kelly Oubre is young himself. Like you're betting, bro. They have 2027 first round picks, bro. You're betting on literal 7th graders to be good. You know, as opposed to looking at a player who's in the league right now and you can develop. So I don't really understand that direction. And man, I gotta say the Pistons, bro. Because look, Jeremy Grant, Jahlil Okafor, Plumlee, they picked up Isaiah Stewart. Like, what are you, you know, like, where's the direction, man? Like, you got all these bigs, you got Blake Griffin, you got D Rose. Like, they didn't, if anything, they should be doing what OKC's doing and compiling picks, not signing Jahlil Okafor, bro. So, I'd have to say those 3 dudes. I know the first 2 is kind of spicy, but I expect a lot more from them considering what they're trying to do next year. Like they're trying to win championships, and if you're trying to win a championship, standing pat that's not gonna get it done.
I ain't mad at that. I just had a little rebuttal for the Nets, and that's why I chimed in when I chimed in. But now it's time to get on to one of Cott's teams, and that he brought up who had the worst moves, and I'm gonna start on this one. But just how does Gordon Hayward keep getting paid? And first off, definitely want to give a round of applause to Mark Bertelstein. You're clear. You're a Jewish guy. You gotta be a Jewish guy with the last name Bertelstein.
For sure.
Mark Bertelstein and Priority Sports definitely shout out to you all. You fought hard for that 7 to 10%. For getting that $120 million contract for 4 years. Jordan, what the fuck are you doing? Just clear, you know what I'm saying? Like it's starting to get to a point to where it's like, damn, like this starting to hurt Jordan's like playing career to me now. Like, nigga, come on, bro. Like you bullshitting, bro. Like these are moves I know LeBron wouldn't make, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you're terrible at this shit, bro. Like, first off, Nicholas Batum even had the option to opt into $27 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, that alone is just crazy.
He got waived.
Yeah, you did decent. You know what I'm saying with picking up LaMelo, but I don't think this is the ideal situation for him. You know what I'm saying? Like being out in Charlotte, of course you got Graham, Miles Bridges, shout out Flip Town, but for what he is, he's not really developing that as what people thought he would be. Then who you got? Hazonia with I don't know, bro. I just don't like the shit, bro. Rozier, I don't like the shit, bro. I'm sorry, I do not like the shit. I don't know, man. Gordon Hayward, I think he's just one of those players that people just feel bad. Like, oh yeah, great heart, we love him, Gordon. Like, bro, fuck that, bro. He's not a $30 million a year player, bro. This nigga, he's not that, bro. And to yield $30 million a year, he's not even going to drop 25 points a game, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to average 25, like, bro. And you feel me? I get it. Nate just point to the skin, but it's like, damn, bro. Like, come on, bro. Then I think even then, like, I thought and I'm gonna be as honest as I can. I thought, like, all right, Gordon Hayward probably came to the realization is, you know what? I'm stealing the church's money. I'm about to opt in to $34 million for Boston. I can't do that. You know, we got these young guys over here. I feel like I need to be a better team. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
supposedly that is a part of why he turned it down, though, because supposedly, you know, Boston obviously gave him all that money, and then he got injured the first game. So I did hear that a big reason he turned that, like, the $34 million down was because he didn't want to hinder, like, the cap space because, you know, they've been paying him this whole time. They obviously didn't pay for this version of that Gordon Hayward. You know, that's what took so long between, you know, him wanting to either opt in or opt out. But to your point,
Jordan,
man.
But Jordan, you see they not, like, bro, I don't know what Boston did because you see the Nicholas Batum happily took that $27 million without a doubt. It wasn't a doubt in that nigga mind he wasn't going to take that shit. I don't know if Boston pulled up with the month, but hey. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, don't sign that deal. Don't sign that deal.
You know what I'm saying? Leave that on the table, chap. You know what I'm talking about? Just walk off and pimp off cool and peace. But these, like, bro, you can't, like, he only took a $4 million short.
He actually didn't even take a short because he got it long term.
Right.
Like, come on, bro. Well, nah, he ain't even take it. Like you said, it's long term. He ain't even take it short. Nigga damn near $90 million to the fucking good. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never mad at no nigga getting this. Hey, get your chicken. But it's like, damn, bro. Like, who is in these offices pulling the trigger on these moves, bro? Like, god damn, bro.
Man.
I'm gonna let y'all. Whatever one of y'all pick it up, y'all can.
Bro. Hey, bro, y'all know how I feel about it. I don't got nothing else to say.
All right, let me say this.
It's despicable.
I'm gonna say this. It's a terrible contract, yes, but I cannot kind of understand why Charlotte would do it. Well, for a small market team like Charlotte in general, you're never going to attract. No, I feel you, bro. But look, you got to think from a business and locations perspective. You're never going to attract a superstar free agent realistically. So unless like you start building a culture of winning, playing hard, and just like, you know, paying your star players. So I don't think they've ever had anybody come sign with them in free agency. Say what's up to my little man, whatever. Asterisk the deal. But he ain't little, bro. He 130.
That nigga big as hell.
But you know, like you gotta pay the stars when they want to come to your city. I'm not saying Gordon Hayward is that star, but I mean, dude paid Mike Conley $30 million a year. He never made an All-Star. You know, 150, and that's a small market team. Memphis is a small market. You gotta pay to keep those guys there. Russell.
Still, Mike Conley,
no. But Mike Conley never made an All-Star team in the West.
Gordon
Hayward did.
Conley led that team, bro.
But so did Gordon with Utah. You feel me? He was their lone All-Star before Rudy was making All-Star. That's not me saying he deserves 30 minutes. I think 20 is like comparable. But I'm just saying I can kind of see why they would do it because they're never gonna. I mean, where else are you gonna spend your money unless you do it on somebody like Nick Batum, which is even worse. You feel me? Like I don't think he'll be a terrible value for them. I do think he's a very solid playmaker. He's not as good as he was when he was an All-Star, but I think he really will help out that team, though. I don't think it's $30 million worth. Probably like you guys said, 20. I could see 20 with the current market. I mean, Joe Harris, bro. Joe Harris got $75 million for 4 years. So if he can get that, Gordon can definitely get more than $15 million a year. But Joe Harris ain't never been that. He's just a shooter only.
Yeah, bro, it's a lot of niggas who got disgustingly overpaid, bro.
It is.
The market is what it is, and it wasn't a lot of shit that you could really pick up because next year the free agency is going to be really crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
30 M's is crazy, but I see why they would want to sign him. But 30 M's is like, all right, come on. But all their best players are young also. LaMelo's young. Devontae Graham's on the little rookie scale contract. Well, he might get his money a little earlier. He was a second-round pick. Terry Rozier's on a pretty favorable deal. Bridges on his rookie deal. PJ Washington on a rookie deal. So, I mean, you got to spend the money. And if nobody else is going to come, I mean, shit. If no one else is ringing your phone, who you giving the money to?
And I think
you got to think, bro. I don't think – go ahead, Micah.
You made a good point, Nate. And I think it's just people ain't really recognizing Charlotte for what it is. Charlotte ain't really no small city, bro. It's a nice city. Like it's some stuff out. Like me personally, I like Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? So I think some of these guys just got to go out there and visit there more because if y'all feel like Charlotte just a bullshit area, you got the wrong misconception, bro. It's nice.
Well, Michael Jordan and the ownership has made it a small market by being bad so long. Like they could have been a much bigger market. So
I feel like with the acquisition of Melo Ball, you got to let that develop. I feel like you hold on to that cap space. I feel like you bring in a guy who's on the latter half of his career. He's an older guy. While I do think that he can help that franchise, I'm not saying that he's completely washed. I just don't think that he's nearly as valuable as what the amount that they gave him. But I think that you got to realize that Melo can possibly, be a more attractive piece to bigger stars and things of that nature. So you got to let it develop. They have a nice young core down there. Him, Miles Bridges, PJ Washington. Who else? I think Vernon Carey was a huge leader. Graham. I've seen Vernon Carey in person. He's a monster. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that he gave it time to develop. I feel like he rushed that signing. I feel like you could have got somebody for, like I said, half as much, who almost can bring the same level of, veteran leadership. Can't think of the top of my head who that specific guy is right now, but I feel like you put yourself in a hole by giving him that much money at this point in time. I don't think that was the right move, and it just doesn't fit the other guys based on the roster.
See, maybe not as long term. Like I could see it if they would have done like 2 years with an option. You feel me? Is that how much he's making a day? No, that's how much he's made in his career.
That's how much he's going to make over the totality of his career. He already done cleared 150.
Hey, but look. Playoff, he got that same money. And where was he in the playoffs? He probably played worse than Gordon Hayward did in last year's play. In the last 2 playoffs that Paul George has been in, he's probably played worse than Gordon Hayward, though. And I understand, obviously he's a better talent, but when the moment arises, shit, what are you paying for if I'm not paying for you to be good in the playoffs? You feel me? Does George deserve 30 M's a year for his performance?
It's PG Gordon Hayward. PG.
Bro, all right, PG. All right, look, PG in the playoffs. It's just PG. Gordon Hayward in the playoffs. Who you taking?
What has Gordon Hayward ever done in the playoffs?
PG. I'm talking about the last 2 years at least, though.
What did he do
last year? He helped them out when they got to the conference finals. He at least put up 16. So let me look it up, bro. Let me not give y'all no false stats real quick.
He was 17, 7, and 3. 17, 7, and 4.
That's what he averaged?
Yeah, for the
That's
season.
solid as hell. That's pretty solid. It's not 30. It's not 30. It's not 30 million a year.
And you about to make me stick up for PG and not kill this nigga David.
It's not like, 30 million a year. Good, it's 25 maybe.
And I'm comfortable with 25, but only for 3, not 4 years, bro.
Yeah, three years.
I don't know who this nigga is.
Not 4. The contract kind of throws me off too. Don't get me wrong. If you'd have gave him 25 for 2 years, still a little. Like I said, y'all know what I think he's worth. I think he's about $15. 15. But 30.
No, 30 is a reach, but this is one thing that they've also done well. And I don't know why I'm sticking up for Charlotte. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But, they did coincide it with LaMelo's extension. Because in 4 years, LaMelo will be eligible for his extension. So by then, if they are good, Gordon Hayward's contract will be off. Maybe they've traded him for some draft capital. It depends on how good they are. Like, in the Eastern Conference,
it'd have to be sooner than 4 years for his extension.
Well, 3 years.
Tatum
after your third year.
Okay.
But then, at that point,
is there a team option in there somewhere? Or?
But the thing is, $30 million is valuable, right? Because look, if you're starting to contend and you're looking to shed salary, you can always send $30 million to a team who's like trying to take on capital. Like in 3 years, you feel me? He's an expiring deal. You feel me? A team like the Knicks this year, they would have taken on that contract just so they can clear space for another year. But I'm in agreement with y'all. $30 million is way too much for dude. I really couldn't even see 25. I'd probably say 20 at max, to Cox's point. But I can see the fit with Charlotte. I think they got 3 really good playmakers with him, Devontae Graham, and LaMelo. I think that's pretty versatile, 1 through 3. But 30 M's, no, that ain't it. But it's other guys out there that's just as bad making some dough.
Yeah, and let me look at what Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl averaged 19, 7, and 2.
I thought Montrezl shorted himself though. I thought he could have got way more money. 19 million to me. I thought he could have went somewhere like Atlanta. You feel me? At least made 15 to 20 a year. But he wants to take a chance.
I would have called Charlotte.
I'm telling you, he about to be at the Clippers next, bro. He made that move because he had built up animosity towards the Clippers,
man, bro. If I'm Montrezl Harrell, I would have called Charlotte like, nigga, y'all about to give 120. Nigga, give me 100.
Right,
man.
Don't even bring him. Just give me 100.
Montrezl is more valuable than Gordon Hayward in this career.
Montrezl got a little in the bubble this year. Montrezl got exposed, but it may not be all his fault. I mean, his grandma passed. You feel me? He missed some weeks and stuff, but I think that's also a big reason he took that deal is because his market value got hurt pretty bad by his play in the bubble. I think a lot of people kind of saw what we were seeing. Like, he's not a starting caliber center. He's not really a power forward either. He really is an undersized center. Like, he doesn't really do much anything power forwards would do. He doesn't really stretch the floor or anything. So for him to be an undersized center that can't stretch the floor, I mean, that market is pretty small. Like, you wouldn't take a regular size center that can't really shoot for that much dough. So I can kind of see why his value got hurt. But shit, if Gordon making 30, he can at least get 15 a year. Shit, and Marcus Morris getting 16 a year.
I would consider Marcus Morris a legitimate 4. Not necessarily. He could be only reason I feel like he can stretch it to the mid range. You may not have the 3, but every 4 is in the stretch 4 in the league nowadays, even though that is turning into the ideal. But I feel like his versatility on defense is also a great asset. Yes, he can't bang with the biggest, strongest, best 5s in the league, but he can check legitimate. I think he can switch out on guards, 1 and 2 position, and I got him checking 95% of 4s in the league. So
the only reason
I think he was undervalued. I think a lot of it has to do with just getting back at his old team. You know what I mean? He wanted to be right down the hallway, and I guarantee you he's gonna try to expose him for what it is. So
the only reason I say it's hard for him to be a power forward is because like all of his offense comes at the rim. Like, I've never seen Montrezl like even roaming around the 3-point line. Like, everything for him is a finish like at the rim. He don't even really have like a free throw line jumper. So like, to me, that's center. You feel me? Like, you're not doing nothing else. I wouldn't say Montrez got a mid range. I wouldn't say he got a 15-footer. I think most of his game is like that little. He got a little push. He got a little push floater, but I don't really see him take no like baseline jumpers or anything. He's really dominant post up. You feel me? Like he'll bang the smaller dudes, and that's why he's so good on the pick and roll with Lou Will, because he's usually not playing against the starting five, right? So you feel me? He's probably playing against somebody who's already undersized, and then you feel me? He can get that little back to the basket. You know, he's stronger than most people, but as a starting center, I mean, paying him more than $20 million a year probably would have been a reach too. But shit, he deserved $15 million to me. If Marcus Morris getting 16, I think he at least can get 15 in this market.
Yeah.
True.
Let me just go ahead and wrap it up. Give y'all some what's going on in the league right now. DeMarcus Cousins signs a 1-year deal with the Houston Rockets. I already mentioned Wayne Ellington earlier signing a $2.56 million deal with Detroit. What else is on here? Nothing. Della Dova back to Cleveland.
Bro, how is he still in the league, bro?
It's Delly.
Yeah, bro. He's a Cavs legend. That's the only reason. That's the only team I keep picking him up.
Other than that, man, that's
stop. They won't stop picking his ass up.
It was an eventful weekend, but it hasn't been too many moves today. I don't have anything else. Y'all got anything else?
Hey man, it's been a spicy free agency period, man. It's definitely interesting. A lot of different moves. I think more teams have gotten better than worse. I'm just excited for next season, man. It's gonna be real competitive.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. We talked about Houston, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this take. I think since they didn't trade James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and they added Christian Wood at that center spot, I think that if they do decide to run it back and they pick up a cheap center like Whiteside, that I don't think that roster is bad at all. I think that they've won their own free agency by not trading away James Harden and Russell Westbrook. They got 2 years left on their deal, so I think we should look for the Houston Rockets to be trying to run it back.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do. I know I read something earlier today that said that they haven't pursued anything with Harden yet, but Russell Westbrook, they have been in talks with different teams about him. But, man, shout out to everybody in the comment section, man. I wish I could scroll through here and see y'all. Let me actually – no, I can't. Shout out to all y'all that tapped in the show. We appreciate y'all. Definitely tune in again next week. Shout out to National Sports Chat again. Go over there, like, comment, follow, subscribe, everything. YouTube, Facebook, IG, Twitter, all that. Make sure you go over there, check them out. The homie that last week that was on Kendall, he's dropping a series every week called YouTube, and he has a lot of the young kids coming on that played in these youth football leagues, and they're doing recaps of the game. He just dropped one yesterday, so make sure you go over there, check that out on the page. Also, make sure you go over there to TOV, like, comment, subscribe on everything: YouTube, Twitter, IG, Facebook, all that. They have a show called Gridiron on the way. Matchmakers as well over there for National Sports Chat. Make sure you go over there, catch that. Kendall's also doing that. But like I said, make sure you go over there to TOV Sports and check out the content over there. Follow him on YouTube, Facebook, IG, Periscope, all that. Tell Dave we said what up. The show Gridiron is coming, so make sure you go over there, do that. And lastly, follow us, man, at the podcast page, Micah and Friends, and follow us at our personal IG pages, man. We all on the screen, so make sure you go over there, follow us. Other than that, man, we checking in and checking out, man. This is another episode of Micah and Friends, and we up out of here. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My boy.
Man, we still on? He ain't give us the close out.
Here is something you can't understand. How I just keep killing, man. I'm from the South Rim, spinning like ceiling fans. Gambling with life, no complaining about the dealer hand. Back when niggas used to ride around the Dipset. Now these cops will shoot you on your live, that's a killer cam.
All right, bro. Appreciate it, bro. You be easy, all right?
All right, man. You too, man.
Hey, don't eat too much Thanksgiving.
I can't make promises, man. Thinking
Come
about
back next week on the show. Gain 15 pounds, bro.
Hey, man, I'm just going to have to work it off, man.
Yes, sir. You be easy, man.
You take it.
All right, cool.